What is up, Earthnoids and Spacenoids? I am just a simple new type, and in this episode, we're rolling it back to UC 112 as we begin our coverage of Mobile Suit Gundam F90 Fastest Formula. This manga will be the bridge between the Mafty Uprising, the Formula Project, Mars Zeon, Crossbone Vanguard, and the Jupiter Empire. In this story, we will see a team operating behind the scenes, 7 years after Mafty. This is the story of F90 and its 26 mission packs, one for every letter of the alphabet. Remember when I said there's a lot of these? Well, we're about to power through them. Let's not waste any time, and let's get into this. Before we begin, let's go back to UC 0096, where we first saw the Loto in Gundam Unicorn, standing at 12.2 meters tall. This SNRI mobile suit was one of the first in making things small. However, it lacks power at this size in UC 0096, and is essentially a space tank that could carry 8 people. It wasn't until UC 102, when a new Federation bidding war began between Anaheim Electronics and SNRI. AE created the MSA 120 Drag as their attempt to miniaturize mobile suits. However, Anaheim Electronics lost to SNRI's F90 unit, which became the Federation standard. This is the beginning of Anaheim Electronics' downfall, as SNRI begins to get the limelight. Universal Century 120. 24 years have passed since the third Neo-Zeon War over a box that meant nothing because it is a prequel, and it has to be ignored for future things to come. But luckily, because of manga like this, we get to see the benefit of hindsight play out, similarly to what we see in 0083 Rebellion. Although small conflicts have broke out, the Earth sphere has experienced peace. But recently, there have been more Zeon Remnant activity. Old Zeon mobile suits of the RF line, which takes the old one-year war mobile suits and refits them with modern engineering, have began to pop up. These are referred to as Oldsmobile. They stole one of the F90 units and adopted it to their needs. They were taken down with the help of the 13th Autonomous Fleet under the ship the Admiral Tiamin, and the Mars Zeon base was completely wiped out. This incident became known as the First Oldsmobile War. Go check out our coverage of F90 to see this war play out. UC 122. The Oldsmobiles begin a second attack. The 13th Autonomous Unit, now under the flagship the Abrams, was tasked to handle this situation. The pilot of F90 Unit 1 is now Ensign Berg Screg. We'll just ignore his last name. He was also in the video game Mobile Suit Gundam F91 Formula Report 122. Their ship was attacked as they departed from Side 4. Ensign Berg was able to defeat the Oldsmobiles. Later, the ensign talks to Abrams' chief mechanic, Lieutenant Junior Grade Braun Wooder, who tells the pilot about the 26 different mission packs, though they only have a handful on board the Abrams. Ensign Berg isn't intended to be the pilot of F90, but is assigned as a pilot until it gets delivered. However, he seems to be in love with the mobile suit. Every pilot experiences their first mobile suit love. Braun tells him that this Gundam has had the most pilots out of all the Gundams, which is why it could have so many mission packs. But because it has many pilots, as opposed to the typical one pilot, F90 has a lineage, and Berg is now a part of it. He tells him not to break the lineage by dying. Many people have come together to make this unit strong. Braun tells him of a story about a super secretive mission pack that was used in a similar incident like Berg just experienced. He calls it the Fastest Formula. UC 112. A young man has a vision of the darkness consuming him before he is saved by the light. Later, 2 heavy guns and a Rizal Commander type are running training exercises. The RGZ-95C Rizal Commander type, also known as the Rizal Type C, is a high-performance variant of the Rizal designated to commanders and veteran pilots. The original Rizal has a simplified OS to make transforming into Wave Rider form easy for rookies. This has been removed in this unit as a show of skill. If you're an ace pilot, you don't need it. You can notice the difference by the green sensors as opposed to the red sensors. Weapons include Vulcans, a mega machine cannon in the chest, a triple grenade rack on each side of the waist, and a beam saber. It also can be equipped with various backpacks. It also has a shield, a mega beam launcher, and a beam rifle. 2 heavy guns get the upper hand on the Rizal. The commander says the age of the giant overwhelming mobile suits is over. They move on to the next phase to test the F90 electronics type. The F90E Gundam F90 electronics type is an F90 mission pack designed for intelligence gathering. It has a large radome on its back extending its range. It also has various sensor jamming and electronic suppression tools to mess with radars in the area. With this mission pack, F90 goes ahead of the squad to scout out areas for its unit. It is equipped with a jamming rifle, a shield, a machine gun, and a shot lancer. That being said, when faced with the enemy, it is wise to retreat when using the E-Pack. The pilot of F90 Unit 2 is Patsy Angelica. She completes the test on the E-Type and asks test team staff to help Hayden how her son is doing. Liv Angelica is watching the test on board the Klopp-class ship. The directional rifle on the unit is powerful, though it does interfere with the radome. In UC-111, the process of miniaturization began. SNRI and F90 won the bid with the Federation, and in UC-112, testing began with Unit 2 and Unit 1. These tests are highly classified. Back on board, Patsy tells her son that he doesn't have to be so reserved. The mechanic team stops focusing on heavy guns and focuses on removing the F90 loadout. Help Hayden tells Patsy that the team tested out the S-Type recently, and now they have to test it out themselves. Also, the Help is named Help. They are heading to New York. You have to say it like a New Yorker in Universal Century. This seems to be Liv and Patsy's old home. The two look out at F90. 1 month later, they returned home, where they were able to sleep in their own bed for a change. A Garuda-class ship flies over, and an explosive goes off in the Catskills. Gustav Karls are working with Patsy in the S-Type. The F90S GUNDAM F90 support type is designed to act as a long-range fire support unit. It has a jack on its back which can stick into the ground to act as support for firing its heavy weapons. This unit's data will later be used to develop the F70 cannon GUNDAM. Weapons include Vulcans, a mega beam cannon, a 4-barrel beam cannon with a 2-tube missile pod, and cruiser missiles. Lodos are attacking. Some enemies are after the Gundam. Wouldn't be the first time. Help tells Liv to get into the shelter. Patsy wants full control to engage in combat. They unlock all the weapons for her. Help is going to get blamed for her actions. Liv and Patsy seem to have a connection with one another. Liv seems to bring Patsy great strength. She is able to tear through the Lodos and the enemies. Later, the news suspects that EFF was involved in the incident. Of course, they denied all claims to the media. Watching on the news is Randiger, Heavy Industry CEO, Oyer Randiger. Randiger is a third player in the mini mobile suit market, and they focus on handcrafted mobile suits. He is ready to be a true player in the marketplace. Randiger gives a keynote speech for their new Horus Middle mobile suits. After the conference, he wants to know his schedule, but not as the CEO. His assistant tells him that they are working towards an operation. He receives a photo of a mysterious mobile armor. Liv, Patsy, and Help enjoy the day off playing games and eating. Help tells them that their next test will take place in the safest place on Earth. 2 weeks later, around the Labrador Sea, they are in a Juno-class sub, the Rumblefish. Patsy launches in the M-Type. The F90M GUNDAM F90 Marine Type is an underwater mission pack with built-in thermonuclear hydrojets. It can reach a depth of 400 meters and travel at a max speed of 90 knots. Their mission packs are equipped with the Freezy Yard gel that was first seen on the GOG. This is a gelatinous goop that can be used to move underwater mines without setting them off. It is equipped with Vulcans, a homing torpedo, a 3-tube marine rocket pack, a heat combat knife, and a 6-tube arrow shooter. She dives down to 300 meters. The Juno gets a blip on the sonar, and they ignore it, thinking it is just a whale. Liv starts to get sick. Patsy begins testing the arrow shooter and water rockets. They pick up something on sonar again and ignore it, but Liv says they are wrong. That is when a megaparticle cannon goes off behind her. She barely avoids the blast. They stumble across a mobile armor. This is the Karsharius. The Karsharius is a transformable underwater mobile suit developed by Randiger Heavy Industries. However, this mobile suit is built almost entirely of standard parts of the time. It is capable of silent low-speed cruising and has treads that give it minimal mobility outside of the water. It has a 2-seat cockpit with the front pilot controlling movement with the gunner seated behind them. The silly shark eyes are functional camera sensors. Weapons include 6-claw arms with a megaparticle cannon and torpedoes. Help tells Liv to trust in her mother as she has full access to her armaments. The mobile armor is faster but lacks maneuverability. Pilot happens to be Randiger. He knows Patsy's name. The mobile suit transforms into mobile suit mode. Also, his assistant, whose name is Griselda, is also there. He fires torpedoes, and Griselda controls its homing features, which bite the enemy missiles before exploding. Patsy sends out countermeasures. It gets into close combat range, making F90 useless. However, she grabs an enemy missile and uses it like a bat, throwing it right into Randigar's face. The missile goes off, and the two make their escape. Randiger says their first battle was superb. Patsy has a feeling this won't be their last time they encounter that mobile suit. She tells Liv that he heard his voice while fighting. Meanwhile, an older Jobjon is looking over a new mission pack. He notes that the B-Team is constantly in the same situation Amara was back in the days of White Base and says this is fitting for a Gundam. And that will do it for this episode in our first dive into F90FF. The F90 had a long lineage before Death Stallion got into the cockpit. It is interesting to also see our hero be a mother, and her son seem to have some type of new type bond, which is a new and a refreshing take on the new type concept. Next time, we will return to Berg in UC-122, and the Oldsmobile attack a colony. They will interrogate a Marzion remnant, but the answers bring them back to UC-112, where we will see F89 go up against F90 and the F-Type. But that will do it for now, new types. Who would have thought that having a codependent relationship with your son would yield new type powers? Peace.